everybody, welcome back to another episode here on the Phil Hodges Experience. Today we're gonna have another video on the culture war. So I'm gonna throw some clips in and stuff like that. But basically, in New York, there was a storm, and they took roughly 2,000 illegal immigrants, and they put them into an American school, forcing the students to not go to school and stuff like that, prioritizing illegal criminals over, technically luckily, but naturally born U.S. citizens, and violating all of their rights and stuff. Well, I don't know about going to school is right, but it is a law, and basically all the teachers sucked. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this, and I'm going to bring up a scoreboard and stuff like that, and we're going to keep track and go forward for this 2024 election. Obviously, I want the Republicans to win because that is the team that I vote for. Not vote for, root for. I meant the word root. Actually, I will be voting. This is the first year I'm ever going to be voting. I already know I'm voting Republican. Everyone, I have roommates, everyone in my house. None of us really voted before. Like, none of us really cared about, well, I cared. I didn't vote. But nobody really paid attention to politics. But after this Joe Biden economy, we're all going Republican. Everyone. I'm talking to my grandma, family members, my sisters, husbands, boyfriends, cousins, niece, or whatever it is. Like, anybody who will listen to me, I'm like, let me tell you why I need to vote Republican. So this is just going to be one of the examples. So let's go ahead and check this clip out real fast.
Them dirty. You're equating them. You're equating them.
Tensions running high outside James Madison High School in Brooklyn Wednesday morning, where nearly 2,000 migrants spent the night braving the storm.
Our kids should not be used. The school should not be used. It's a sectionary for the learning. Our kids supposed to be here feeling safe and be able to learn.
Did you all see that lady at the very beginning who said that that guy was equating them to like dirty criminals or something like that? She is not American. She is somebody who wants open, but that's a Democrat. That's exactly a Democrat. And most Democrats are betas. They're females in mindset, if not in body, in spirit. And that most definitely was one. Look out for those kind of people. They just spit out hyperbole and try and set you off and upset you and stuff like that. I'm a little upset, so I mean, like, I get it. But you can even see right there, like, and everything that lady said is absolutely on point. Like, these schools are supposed to be there for some kids. School is the only safe place. That's where they get their meal. That's where they're able to get out of the house from like an abusive parent. And now the immigrants getting sent to the school. The kid without notice. All the kids have to do remote learning, and it's absolutely BS. Watch.
The city's decision to relocate migrant families from Floyd Bennett Field to the high school didn't sit well with parents and local officials who say the administration put the needs of the migrants ahead of their children.
Migrants never went through the metal detectors, right? So
absolutely.
We have no idea what these people might bring to the school and what's inside the school.
And on top of everything else, another facet of everything, they sent out some sort of bot. Like, I don't know what else to call this dude. The most monotoned, uninteresting plant I've almost ever seen. Watch this next part. The guy trying to claim all the good things that they did. You can see he's just reading off a script. Watch his eyes. They go back and forth. He doesn't actually know anything that's going on. He just put it on screen as a pretty face to try and quell people, to keep the sheep quiet and stuff like that. We all got to remember, you all got to be wolves. You all got to be ready to fight. We got to fight for the country, and we cannot allow anybody to take it over, especially when putting obvious plans. Watch his eyes. He's going to read off a script.
The shelter operations at James Madison High School, managed by Health and Hospitals, were nothing short of remarkable. They supplied essentials like baby formula, baby bottles, hot food, snacks, water, and blankets.
Now, don't get me wrong. I don't want babies to starve or anything like that, but that's still, somebody's paying for that somewhere. Do you know who it is? It's taxpayers like me and you that are fronting the bill for these illegal immigrants. Actually, it's mainly not even us anymore. It's New York. It's becoming New York's problem. And as you'll see later on, like they don't know what to do. They've put themselves in a rock and a hard place, and they're about to suffer the consequences of their own actions. like for a fact.
And what outraged them even more, the fact that students stayed home today and learned remotely.
None of the teachers signed up for remote learning, and the ones that did, from other parents that I heard, said good morning, posted the assignments, and just left.
And as you heard, based on the parents' testimony, the teachers don't care about their own students either. They basically all just took the day off as a vacation. They're like, oh, we don't have to do anything, so pass. They didn't even sign up for their own distance learning or whatever it's called. So they just did an assignment, they went off and they smoked a weed or got drunk and had sex with each other or whatever it was that they did. Because it wasn't teaching, that was for sure. Because even the parent even said that, like, according to her, that other parents were like, yeah, there weren't even like lessons assigned. Nobody showed up. They essentially just gave them homework and took off. And without warning, which means particularly single parents and single mothers are highly affected because they cannot leave their kids at home. I don't even care if they're in high school. Like, technically they're old enough to be left home alone, you know, legally and all that kind of nonsense too. But you're wasting, the parent knows that they are wasting their life at home playing video games, not studying, because a mom, or single parent, cannot be there to ensure that learning is taking place because she has to go off and work. So what are these single parents supposed to do with this kind of a crisis? The crisis is rolling downhill, as you can plainly see. Do not turn a blind eye to these kind of issues. This is, oh, I got stuff in my eye. This is extremely important. This is the kind of thing that we're fighting for right here in the country, to stop this kind of nonsense, to ensure that children are protected, especially from all the pedophiles in the Democrat Party that think that wanting to sleep with children is just a natural urge and that it should be expelled, or not expelled, but like lived out. Have the fantasy, no, fantasy's not good enough. Like if you're a serial killer, so if you just do the act, then maybe it'll go away. That's kind of their theory. As we know, that does not work. And even if it did work, you were sacrificing the innocence of that child to let some 40-year-old man sleep with like I saw a thing where like 2 or 3 men in college recorded themselves raping a 5-year-old. And like, why would you even record yourself and put it on the internet? But that's what happens when you have a godless society, i.e. California, with all the atheists over there. But you know what? This situation gets even better.
This evening, students were back in the building for sports practice. School will be back in session tomorrow. Meanwhile, city officials were asked if they would use the high school again if another storm comes. They say they do not foresee using James Madison again. In Brooklyn, I'm Jessica Formoso, Fox 5 News.
And some of the only reasons why they're not going to use that, first. The reason they picked the school, because if you were to look at a map, I don't have the image, but if you were to look at the map, they picked a school that's directly in the middle of a Republican voting block, if you will, like, you know, a lot of red areas, neighborhoods, if you will, while all the blue is untouched. They purposely did this to disrupt their political opponents. Once again, these immigrants, while in-house, are just being used as political pawns. So really, when you think about it, building the wall is protecting them from the Democrats, and along with voter ID and things of that nature. But I digress real fast. So anyway, this got out in the media. They purposely picked this spot to disrupt the Republicans in general, and it turns out that I don't know her official title or anything. I don't really remember, but this lady said something to the effect of she went to every single board meeting. She talked to the mayor's office. I don't think she ever got to the mayor directly, though. And this, that, and the other thing. And she told them over and over and over again that the spot that they were in was not adequate. It was not good. It had zero protections from like all weather environment. In fact, basically, it was a flood zone. For those of you that don't know, when marshlands and stuff next to rivers, or certain areas of rivers that are like natural overflow spots. And so a lot of times, people build houses in those, and then they get flood damage, and then they become upset, and it's like, well, you didn't check. Why would you build a house next to a river where it's literally, you're building it in a once-a-year swamp for like a couple months? Like, why would you build your house there? But, whatever. So all of this is getting out now, which is why in that previous clip she said that they probably won't use this school again because this is the backlash. So that's why this is kind of a win for Republicans, even though they had to take the punch. We got the punch, we had to take the punch, but our counter punch is landing, our counter combo, if you will. Because now we're coming at this issue from 2 or 3 different points, or angles. So go ahead and check out this lady, and you'll see what I'm talking about, how she warned them over and over and over again not to do this. And they did it anyway because they do not care about them. They're only using them as pawns in a political game, rather than doing what's best for not only Americans and the world, but humanity in general. So watch this clip.
What's your reaction to this situation?
My reaction is a very big I told you so. When Floyd Bennett Field was first proposed, I told the administration that this was the wrong site, that it easily flooded, inclement events constantly, happen there, no barrier from the wind, no barrier from flooding, no barrier from storms of any kind, and we're in the middle of winter. So I feel that this is going to continue to happen.
You can see right there, she warned them. There's a long history. It's almost as if they're doing this on purpose, which they honestly, at this point, they very well might be. But that's one of those things in the culture war. These kind of mess-ups is what the Republican side has to capitalize on in order for our combo, in order to be really landing and getting us to where we need to be. But it's not totally over. Go ahead, we're gonna be wrapping up here pretty soon, but check out this last part. It may not be the last part, but second to last part maybe, but go ahead and check it out. And don't forget to drop that comment, by the way.
Is Floyd Bennett Field safe to begin with at all, inclement weather or not?
It is not safe at all, and that has been our contention from the moment that it was proposed. The governor asked for this property from the federal government. The federal government approved it, and the city signed the lease for it. We went through, we spoke with them, we begged them, we pleaded with them, we showed documentation as to why it is unsafe for people to reside on Floyd Bennett Field, and we have initiated a lawsuit for an injunction, which will be heard on January 18th.
See, she begged and pleaded and asked, and then went ahead and approved it anyway. That's why, you can only attribute stupidity so far, so eventually you're going to have to make a decision on when it's malicious intent. And I think this is most clearly malicious intent. Like, what else do these people, and it sucks that they always have to boil it down to, in this day and age, to a lawsuit. Like, I think humanity in general, the West, has kind of lost this internal code of conduct, kind of like do the right thing even if nobody's looking. And then the only way to really force people's hand now is through lawsuits. I'm tired of hearing all these lawsuits. Why can't people just do the right thing from the beginning? And this is why it's important in the culture wars that the rise of the Republicans are coming up, because those with that kind of religious cultural values is what our country is sorely lacking. So we definitely need more of that. And let's go ahead and get back to the clip real fast.
Here, you posted this. I want to read it and then get your reaction. Taxpayers are being overburdened. Our students are being inconvenienced. The school that is meant for the students is now going to be packed with just about 2,000 people. And the city does not have a really comprehensive plan. Who is at fault for what you're describing as not a comprehensive plan?
This is on the city. And I've attended many of the hearings and always asked about what the plan was for evacuation, for housing up to 2,000 migrants in a desolate a desolate national park, and I was never given any answers. They said a plan is in place, but I've never seen the plan. And anytime something has happened, the plan was always done like on the spot. So if this were a regular natural disaster that came in and we had to evacuate any of the surrounding areas, we would use Flatbush Avenue and it would go straight to Brooklyn College. Why was Madison High School used? There was no reason for it. And one of the things that we were saying from the very beginning is, in addition to flooding, there is so much wind at Floyd Bennett Field. Today I was there and it was only 35 mile per hour winds and it was pushing us back. 67-mile-per-hour winds would have taken those tents down. We were lucky that it didn't get that high.
Like I said, the whole reason that they did it, because once again, these illegal immigrants were being used as pawns on the political chessboard. Because instead of doing the defined plan that she mentioned, they purposely went out of their way and picked a Republican school in the middle of a block of people, blocks, I guess, where it's in the middle of a red zone if you were to look at a political map. This was done with tactfulness, because there's kind of like it's one of those, how's it go? There's no such thing as a wasteful bad scenario or something like that. You know, like there's always something silver lining kind of thing. Don't waste a tragedy, that kind of a thing. Like even though they're being bad, it's bad that there's the illegal immigrant issue. They're going to go ahead and use them as pawns for their own political gain. That's clearly why this was chosen and done.
Can you talk about your visit to Floyd Bennett Field? What was that like? What was the atmosphere like? Take us right there.
Well, Floyd Bennett Field, just to give you a little background, they see 1 million visitors per year. That is our national park. That's our green space. What's happened now is it's turned into a migrant base camp. When I was there today, I saw a number of migrants coming out with their school children with backpacks on, walking, to the entrance, which is quite a distance from the base camp, and each of them seemed quite downtrodden. And then to learn that over at the school, where that school had to be remote and those 4,000 students were disrupted, not only are they not going to be were not able to go to school today, but they will not be able to have their winter dance this evening because of this. This cannot go on. So when we said Floyd Bennett Field is a bad place for migrants, and because it's unsafe, no one should be there and residing there temporarily or any long term, we were right. No one wants to listen. Even to today, when I spoke with the mayor's office, they said, well, we have nowhere else to put people. And I said, well, you shouldn't put them in places where they are not safe. And Floyd Bennett Field has proven itself to be not safe.
And they wouldn't have this problem if the Democrat leaders would write letters to Joe Biden or call him up or whatever it is and get that border wall secured. Because now what you're trying to do, you're trying to deal with a symptom, not the cause, right? You're just treating the ailment. You're not treating the root cause of what's going on. You're trying to put a Band-Aid over a bleeding artery, a gushing one at that, the main artery. You're bleeding out, guy, and a little Band-Aid is not going to help. Because Greg Abbott of Texas and I think the Arizona and Florida governors also are starting to send all the illegal immigrants up there to make it your problem. And unfortunately, all those kids now also are not going to be able to go to their winter dance. I never went to any school dances. Personally, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. But for some people, those dances do mean a lot. And it's important that they should be able to go those because they are in America, and that's one of the things that we do here. And I personally would love to extend that opportunity to all legal immigrants that are willing to participate in our society and our rules and our customs and integrate into American culture. So with that, we're going to wrap this episode up. I super appreciate everybody's time. Keep an eye out for more content on the Phil Hodges Experience. Please leave a comment. It really helps me out. And with that, this Phil will see you in the future.